Hey everyone, just wanted to give you guys an update. Kind of skipped ahead a little bit. I apologize for that. I guess I got anxious and decided to start without filming a lot of it. But here is the engine. You can see I've already started assembling it a little bit with the Viterra pistons and the max peating rods, the H-beams. I did notch the block. You can see it right here. Kind of see it a little bit. Went ahead and notched it, and then came back and sanded it with some of these flap wheels. That's a 60 grit, but I used a 120. I think I've got an assortment of 60, 40, and 120 grit. But when I started assembling it, I thought maybe I would have to notch the girdle too. You can see here I'm doing it. It's all covered in this liquid stuff. That's the assembly lube, and all the obviously aluminum flake from shaving it, from grinding it. Using a double cut carbide bit there. Get the camera to focus. Just on this cheap Harbor Freight grinder thing. Works really well for what I've been using it here. Just like I said, I did the block and just doing the girdle, and it's worked great. These carbide bits I got off Amazon. I don't think they were more than $10 for a set of 5. Got one here. Again, get the camera to focus. But yeah, it was just a flat one. It came with the tapered one. There's a real, I got the box taped up because it's just a cheap box, and it was falling apart, and the grinder, the bits were falling out when I got it, so I just glued it and then taped it shut to fix it. But anyway, like I was saying, I have to notch the girdle a little bit. Didn't appear to be too much. Maybe 4 millimeters, maybe 3 millimeters. 4 millimeters might be too much. From what I understand, there's oil passages in here. You can see obviously the oil holes there. But you know, when the pickup is bolted to it, and then you've got the pump, you know, all goes through here as well, from what I understand. Anyway, but from what like I said, from what I've read, there's some oil passages in there, so you don't want to go too deep. I'm just kind of going down just a few millimeters, like I said, just to clear the connecting rod bolts. And it should be good. So I'll pick this up after I grind all 8 of these. You see I've already got this one done. I think that might be enough, but I've got, you know, the other 6 to do, and then finish this one here. So like I said, I'll pick it up once I'm done. hopefully that took off enough. You kind of see I went down to the casting line. This one didn't have one, so I think I went down far enough. Maybe not. Maybe need to go a little further. But you know, basically the casting line on all of these. Hopefully that should be enough. If not, obviously I'll just have to pull it all back off and grind some more. But I'm gonna get this cleaned up and bolted back down, torqued and everything, and I'll check it against the one rod that I have in there so far and see where I'm at. Okay, so I got it cleaned up, put back on here. It still didn't take off enough. Looks like I took off enough on the outside here, but not on the inside of the girdle here on both sides. I don't know if you can see, but this bolt here is just hitting. Same with on this side too. It's just hitting right on the inside. So looks like I need to go. So basically the casting line on the inside of the girdle to the casting line on the outside of the girdle, and then just go straight across, taper it across. And that hopefully should be enough. So let me do that, and I'll put it back on and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so I went back, ground down to the inner casting line. I'm hoping this should be enough. I'll go ahead and get this cleaned up again, throw it back on there, and see where we're at. I think I might just take a break for today, so you won't notice the difference, but when you see me again, I'll probably be dressed different. But yeah, hopefully this should be enough. So you'll see me back in a few seconds with this cleaned up and back on the engine. Okay guys, it's a different day. I took a break and decided to stop. I decided to stop because when I was putting these rods in, one of them kind of got a little bound up, maybe cross thread. I pulled it out. It was in fact cross threaded a little bit. One of the threads had just broke off. So I started to wonder about the quality of these bolts. I know max speeding rods, they're not the high end, they're not Eagle rods or Speed Factory, but it's a budget, it's what I had to go on, so that's what I did. Anyway, the bolts they come with, the max speeding rods, supposedly are ARP 2000. They have a, I guess they got them customized. If you can see them, maybe not. Anyway, it says max speeding rods ARP 2000 02. To be honest, I don't think these are legitimate ARP bolts, because when I pulled this one out, you know, I did what I've always done to fix a thread, either chase it with a die, tap and die set, or even found a nut. You know, took a file to it, a small jeweler's file that I've got, just to try to get some burrs out of the thread, and then chased it with a nut. I actually didn't have a nut, so I used actually something that I made while I was in machining school. It's just a mild steel. Let's see if I can find it now. I might have placed it somewhere else. Oh, here it is. It's just a mild steel, kind of a thing where I can run a bolt in just to see. You can actually see this one 3/8 24. And again, this steel is not all that hard. But just to show you, that is what it did to the bolt. And a true ARP would not happen. These things are supposedly rated at 200,000 psi tensile strength. So what I ended up having to do is stop, go online, ordered a set from Summit, actually, of authentic ARP bolts. This one happens to be 200-6209. These are 3/8 24 pitch. I think it's 1.6 inches from the bottom of the head to the end. Again, these ARP 2000. This camera's not focusing, but I believe these to be true. So, you know, they came with the legitimate assembly lubricant. So I had just thrown a few in. The max peating rods recommended to torque the ones that it came with to 45 foot-pounds. The ARP came with the little instruction thing here. It recommended stretching them, but I don't have a stretch gauge, so it just said torque them to 55 foot-pounds. So that's what I'm doing. But anyway, I just wanted to give a quick update here about why I stopped for the day. I got frustrated the other day. Actually, I think I skipped a day in videoing. I think the last thing you saw was me grinding the girdle. I went ahead and ground it, like I said, down to the casting line here and the casting line on the inside. That seemed to work. Yeah, I've got 3 rods in here. Turned it over fine. I'm just now replacing these ARP bolts with the actual ARP bolts that I feel confident in. Unfortunately, they're a little pricey. This set was $65. It cost me $82 with shipping. Kind of a tough pill to swallow when you consider the rods. I actually forgot what I paid for them. $200, $252 maybe. So yeah, this project is getting expensive quick. So don't tell Katie.